Welcome everyone to my next video. By the title of the video, you can see this is going to be a video about Rudy Gobert. I know, weird topic, right? Not many people care about Rudy Gobert. Not many people want to hear about him. But I think over the years, Rudy Gobert has become one of the more misunderstood players in the NBA, especially when it comes to his defensive ability. So I'm going to talk about it in this video. Make sure you guys subscribe, drop a like, leave a comment. Give me some suggestions too. I'm open to any and all suggestions on this page. So let's just jump right into it. Rudy Gobert, four-time DPOY. And for a lot of people, it's triggering because he shouldn't have four. He shouldn't even have three. He shouldn't even have two to some people because his overrated defense doesn't actually mean anything. And he's not actually as good on defense as people say he is. This, that, and the other thing. I want to dive into that a little bit. And the main reason people say Rudy isn't as good defensively is because a lot of it is when he is asked to do too much, he doesn't look that great. And this is the case for every other player in the NBA. One example that people always cling to is the 2021 or 2022 Jazz versus Clippers series where the Clippers went 5 out and Rudy Gobert got exposed. When in reality, the defenders around him didn't do their job, so that means he had to make up for what they weren't doing. He had to overcompensate, and his abilities were stretched too thin, and we saw him get quote unquote exposed. Now, when you have a historic level rim protector like Rudy Gobert, his job is to stay home at the paint, at the rim, in the paint, at the basket. When he is not doing that, yes, he's significantly worse defensively, but that's not his job. The reason Rudy Gobert led defenses are so good is because he's doing what he does best, which is protect the rim, protect the paint. When he's asked to come out and guard the perimeter, yes, he's significantly worse, significantly weaker as a defender. But the problem is that when you have incompetent perimeter defense around him, again, yeah, he is asked to do too much. He can't do that. He can't guard all five players at once. He needs help. And just like offensive players, you can't have one offensive player do everything. He needs help. With Rudy Gobert, it's no different. So when it comes to him being exposed because he can't guard the perimeter, this is really easily refutable. All you have to do is look up Rudy Gobert guarding the perimeter on YouTube. It's really not that difficult. However, one of my main concerns, again, is that he's an overrated defender because he can't guard the perimeter. It is a major claim that's used against Rudy's defensive abilities. And I want to say this, and this will kind of be all I say on the topic. Being able to guard the paint and defend the rim at the prolific level that Rudy Gobert does and is able to do trumps any other ability defensively. It doesn't matter if you can switch, doesn't matter if you can guard 1 through 5, doesn't matter if you can guard fives and point guards and you can go out and guard the best player. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The most impactful form of defense is rim protection. This has been true for decades. And quite honestly, in my opinion, it's not going to change anytime soon. The only time it would change is if teams, all teams, or majority of teams in the NBA, make more threes than they make layups. And we're seeing teams convert 50, 51, 52% at the rim. League average from three is still like 37, 38%, which is really good, but it's nowhere near the amount of points, the amount of shots, the amount of scoring teams are getting at the paint, or I'm sorry, in the paint at the rim. So until that changes, rim protection will always be the most valuable aspect of defense. If you can do that at the highest level, you're automatically among the top defenders in the NBA. That's why Rudy Gobert is so impactful. He has been the best rim protector in the NBA probably for a decade, maybe, if not the better part of it of a half decade. I'm sorry, whoa, of a half decade, not a decade. Um, Rudy Gobert has pretty much been the best rim protector in the NBA for the better part of a half decade. And how many players can you really say that about in NBA history? How many? Maybe 4 or 5, maybe 6, maybe. That's pushing it. Rim protection is the most valuable form of defense. If you can do that at a high level, or if you can do it as well as Rudy Gobert does, you are the best defender in the league. Perimeter defenders have their place, of course, but they cannot impact the game defensively the way that rim protectors and help defenders can. The way that shot blockers, rim protectors, paint defenders, paint protectors, whatever word you want to use, can. They can't. It's impossible. They're not asked to do as much. They simply cannot do as much. They cannot neutralize offensive players the way rim protectors can. They are not responsible for guarding offensive players the way rim protectors are. If you're a rim protector, you have to know where everybody is at all times. You have to know where the ball is. You have to make sure you're near the basket. You have to make sure you're protecting the basket. You have to keep the entire game in front of you at all times. Whereas if you're a perimeter defender, you're only really ever responsible for maybe one or two guys. And then you got to know where the ball is and you got to know where your guy is. Paint protectors carry far more responsibility. And that's another reason why they're so much more valuable, so much more important, so much more impactful. They carry so much more responsibility. So if they can carry out that responsibility, again, as well as Rudy Gobert does, they are exponentially more impactful than a perimeter defender, than just a really good perimeter defender. Because again, even the best perimeter defenders can't impact the game the way rim protectors can. Perimeter defenders cannot neutralize the ball handler, the offensive player on the perimeter. It's impossible. It's impossible. Rim protectors can do that, and they mostly do it well. Even the Jaren Jacksons, even the Evan Mobleys, Jared Allen. Give me some others. Wemby, sure. Wemby is on a historic rise to the top upper echelon of the NBA's defenders. Wemby, Jaren Jackson, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. I'm drawing a blank. I don't even. Who else would I even say? Either way, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Giannis, occasionally, when he's healthy. Giannis. These are the players who we all know are the best defenders in the league. Why? Because of their ability to defend the rim at a high level. Because of their ability to defend the rim, in Rudy Gobert's case, and arguably Wemby's case, at a historic level. We're seeing it live in real time. Another reason I want to touch on the Rudy Gobert thing is his offensive game, and we're going to strive a little away from the defense for now. I've made my case. My case rests at this point. His offensive game. People look at Rudy Gobert as a liability offensively, and the word liability is used pretty poorly in a basketball sense. Oftentimes, people misconstrue the word a lot. Liability is quite literally, you cannot do anything offensively. A liability is you are an absolute zero. You suck. You're not worth anything. Rudy Gobert is not a liability because there are some things on offense he does very well. Offensive rebounding, really valuable, especially if you're a center. Pick and roll passing, or I should say short roll passing, that kind of thing with Rudy Gobert in the pick and roll. He's pretty good at that, and that's valuable if you're a center and you're running pick and rolls. You need to be able to do that. He does it pretty well. Scoring in the paint. He can give you 10, 12 points a night, some little hook shots, layups, dunks, lobs. If you're a center, you need to be able to do that. Even though it may be the bare minimum, Rudy Gobert can still do it pretty well. So he isn't the best offensive player. In fact, he is quite honestly not a very good offensive player. However, he's not a liability. Again, all it would take is a quick YouTube search. Rudy Gobert highlights. Everybody loves to watch highlights when it comes to fancy moves, dribbling, all this stuff. But they don't want to watch the highlights for the bare minimum. They don't. And that's a problem we have with NBA discourse. That's another topic for another day. I'm done. 9 minutes is a solid amount of time for my yap. So let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about Rudy Gobert. Very polarizing player. I think one thing I really think is the best way to tell how well someone's knowledge goes in the NBA is by asking them about Rudy Gobert. If you want to know what somebody thinks, if you want to know if somebody knows ball, ask them about Rudy Gobert, specifically his defense. Ask them what they think of Rudy Gobert. And then listen to what they say and make your conclusion. Don't ask them anything else. Don't ask them their opinions on anything else until you ask them about Rudy Gobert. And then you can ask them more after that. Otherwise, don't ask them anything. Just ask them about Rudy Gobert. That's all for me. Thanks for watching, everyone. This has been my second video on the channel. Again, give me suggestions. I'm open to anything NBA basketball-wise. I want to really incorporate feedback on this page. I can do it more now on here than I could on TikTok because TikTok is just so many comments all the time, people DMing me. Here, it's going to be a more tight knit community, and I'm excited for that. So, drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe, give me some suggestions, and I'll see you next time. Peace.